Hey, how's it going? So today I wanted to address the custom or set variation drama that's been going on. Lots of people on both sides. It's kind of a 70-30 split from the polls that I've been seeing. 70% of people are in favor of allowing for custom variations in competitive, and the other 30% basically saying no, we want set variations. It'll be easier to balance the game for the developers, and it's just going to be less chaotic in general. So I can see it from both sides. A couple of the arguments that I would say is the game's just not going to be balanced full stop. It's just not. It doesn't matter if they have one variation per character. There'll be characters that are low tier. There'll be characters that'll be top tier. It's the fighting game way. When you add variations in, you allow more opportunities for characters to be sort of playable almost, and I'll go on to why that may not be the case shortly, but there's still going to be top tier and low tier. And if you add custom variations, there's going to be even more opportunities for characters to shine, especially in certain matchups. However, there's going to be even more chances for top tiers as well to be top tier, because there's going to be certain custom setups and whatnot that may be overshadowing others. However, there's a couple of things to note here. Let's say the community as a whole finds that there's a certain variation that's busted, right? The developers literally just know. They don't need internal QA tests or anything like that. The community's done the work for them. Oh my god, you should see this Liu Kang build. It's insane. Proves out to be insane. They can look at it and go, right, okay, I can see what's wrong there. This should be a 2-slot ability for sure. Something like that. That's if they want to balance it that way. There's a couple of ways that the developer team can balance the special moves, and I don't know whether they're going to do both ways or just choose one. So one of the ways is to balance a move, keep the frame data, how it acts all the same, but just balance it purely based on how many slots it takes up. Or if they're going to balance it on the side of, it's okay, it's a 1-slot move, we intend it to be a 1-slot move. It was just, this was too negative on block or too positive on block, or it was too fast on start, too slow. You get what I'm trying to say. They may do both. They may, change up the frame datas and the slots on them. We do not know. The one thing that I will say is that it's going to be a challenge for them to balance the game with or without custom variations. Whether or not it's easier or not is up to them. But in general, all we're going to see, and this has been proven in past cases, is we're just going to see one variation be the tournament standard and the other variation be the sort of quirky matchup pick, or the sort of I'm just playing for fun variation. It's just that the nature of the competitive way, there's no way around it. There's always going to be a best variation. Let's take, for instance, 2 examples. And this is taken from the beta, and I know that these are not the final versions of the characters. However, even in the full game, there will definitely be instances like this. Scorpion. He has one variation that has Misery Blade, and on that variation, he also has the NJP. Okay? If you don't know what the NJP is, basically you got a Mortal Kombat X NJP as one of his moves. And in the other variation, he got the Chain Swing, and he got Flame Dash, which is the Skull Grab. Here comes the dilemma. Okay? You pick one variation, you're gonna pick Misery Blade if you pick in one of the variations, because the Misery Blade on the beta build was literally the best ability for Scorpion. And there are going to be instances in the full game, guys, I guarantee 100%, where there's just going to be an ability where it's like, I don't think there's another ability there. I think this is the only one. Even in custom, there's just going to be abilities where it's just like, this is this is hands down the best one, right? So with that in mind, you're in a matchup where you've got Misery Blade, which is your best pressure tool. It's allowing you to keep yourself safe. But the NJP, it's a bit niche, not really that useful, not too bad in the corner. But, you know, I'd really like that Flame Dash, but it's locked behind the other variation. And you can't take the other variation because the spinning chains, although, yeah, they do nice chip and whatnot, they're just not as good as Misery Blade. So now you've got these Scorpion players that are like, God, can I not just... They're both one slot. Can I not just cross them over? Sorry, my cat's deciding to... Can I not just swap the moves? It'd be so good. Because what happens is, because Scorpion now doesn't have access to his Flame Grab, he's now not able to punish certain Jade minus frames, certain Baraka minus frames, things like that, because he doesn't have the range. But if he had the Flame Dash, all this unsafe stuff that these characters, it's now bad matchups. It would go from being Scorpion doing 5-5, maybe even 6-4, to losing because they're just getting away with murder because that variation's not cutting it, and if he swaps to the variation that he did punish, his pressure would go down. So no matter which one he picks, it's devil's advocate. So hopefully you can understand why the community that are looking at it and going, oh, you're putting set variations in, oh right, okay. The thing is, what you're doing is you're dangling goodies in front of the players and then saying you can't have that. And as a consumer, that's bad. Like super, super bad. Because they've got this character, they know what the character's capable of, what they could possibly do, but it's bad. It's bad and competitive. And I'm sure they'll do a fantastic job of doing, you know, the best competitive variations that they can see, and they're gonna update as they go on. But, you know, as given another example here is Jade, especially in the beta build, if you don't have the downward glaive, you know, the jump back downward glaive on each of those custom variations, which she probably won't because they want to try and get all the moves in. It was like her best move by far. It was if you didn't have the downward glaive toss, it was like her best mid. It was like a mid check. It was great for, am I gonna jump in or am I gonna projectile? We all know how strong air projectiles are, and ones that are mid and stuff. The X1 would catch people full screen. It had great tracking. It was her best move, and it was literally the only move that made her like decent. Because to us, without it, she's really kind of like easy to play around. But with it, it was like, yeah, okay, she's a bit annoying. You're not going to pick the variation without that. So then it goes back to the fact of, okay, then we'll just have to make the abilities on the other variation overpowered, or like at least to match that. So they're still doing like, so the whole, oh, it's going to be easy to buff nerf argument. They're still going to be doing all that. They're still, instead of letting the players buff and nerf the characters by equipping and deselecting abilities, instead of letting the players control the balance, they're putting it in their own hands. Sure, there'll be times where they'd need to intervene. Sure, there'll be times where they've got to step in and say, right, this is too strong, this is too weak, we need to do that, even with custom. But with the set variations, all they're doing is cock blocking the players, forcing the players into playstyles that they may not particularly want to engage with fully, which is pretty much the opposite of what MK11 was about. MK11 was literally marketed from the start as, choose your character, play your own way, not if you're competitive. Now, if you're competitive, no, you've got the set variations, and you're just gonna have to work with what you've got. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, MKX was a great game. It had 3 variations, but what a balancing nightmare that game was. Do you remember? It had it was mean for how many patches it had, and even in the final patch, it wasn't balanced. There was definitely like a pretty huge disparity between the low tier and the top tiers. So again, it's not it's not so much, I would argue, they're going to struggle to balance customs. There's going to be too many crazy comments. Because when you actually go into those abilities, they look pretty sort of like they've been thought out as it is. It doesn't look like the Injustice abilities where, Aquaman's doing 50% chip on block. That's a bit of an over-exaggeration, but you know what I'm trying to say. There's nothing too crazy, especially in a beta build that I seen. Everything seemed pretty sort of, well, this just looks like it could be normal. People are like saying, oh, there's going to be crazy stuff. And it's like, well, where? Where were the crazy abilities in the beta? The craziest thing was Cabal's abilities, and yeah, you could argue him having the launcher with the restand and stuff was a bit broken. Maybe NRS don't want that, but they can just type that in a line of text. Cannot use with Thingyo. They literally can do that, and it would take someone 1 minute to just go, cannot do this with hook grab. So he doesn't get the restand anymore. They've already got the tech to do that. So you can cockblock a move if another move's too strong. They can already cockblock these things, and they already are. So they're already limiting us within the custom. And the second point that I wanted to touch on is the segregation of the player base. So already the competitive player base it's so small. Like, for the whole player base, we're like ants. Okay. 1%, maybe less than 1% of the total players of the game. And the people that even just go online and the people that actually just even queue up for casual games, I imagine they're not a huge percentage either. A lot of people will buy it, they'll play the story offline with some friends, a bit of a laugh, take it back to GameStop, But the thing that this does is, let's say you're one of the casual crowd that does go into casual games. You've got your character, you've got your loadout. Oh, this is brilliant. You play for you play for a while. You start thinking to yourself, you know what? I'm a couple of months in now. I'm really, really enjoying this game. I'd love to see myself in ranked. They queue for ranked, and it's like, pick your variation. Totally new to it. They played the game for months. Pick your variation. What's a variation? Oh, I have to. Oh, I don't. But I don't enjoy this. Nah, I don't enjoy that. No, that's not for me. And yeah, there will be people that are like, oh, okay, I understand. I have to pick a set thing. There will be players that will move on to, competitive Mortal Kombat 11 and the thing. But there'll also be players that don't. Okay, there's going to be two parties of players that are going to move on to competitive, and the others that will be put off by going to competitive because they're not allowed to customize their characters anymore. They can't have the builds that they've been using, what they've been practicing with, and they're just going to feel like it's a bit too steep of a learning curve, and that will put them off. It's fact. It's literal fact. So the other thing as well is, literally I was in Twitch chat, and there were people arguing, both sides, and they're like, there's plenty of great players in casual. So yeah, there is. In MKX, you could find good casual games just to chill out and practice in. And in Injustice 2, most of my games were player matches because, to be honest, I didn't enjoy ranked at all. Not custom player matches, by the way, just competitive mode player matches. But it was fine. It was absolutely fine. And you can't do that in MK11. If you're a competitive player, you will not be playing player matches, not because they're bad players in player matches, but because it's not the same game. You are playing a game on two different rule sets. And if you're a competitive player, you understand that all your time matters, and you learning what some air hook grab does for one character that's not in competitive, and learning to counter and stuff, yes, might help you a little bit fundamentally as a player, but for tournaments, if you're looking to break into top 8 or win, or you're looking to just, get the best out of yourself, it's wasted learning time. You need to learn all the matchups for all the characters, but the custom variations don't fly. And it's, you don't need to see the crazy teleporting character that somebody's created, because it's, it doesn't exist in your realm, if that makes any sense. So again, we're segregating the play against these casual players. You're not going to get matched up against Foxy. You're not going to find Sonic Fox in casual match. The only time you're going to find these guys playing this is when, on the downtime at the Pro Tour, in between, where they're just having a bit of a laugh and they're just messing around. But when push comes to shove and they're grinding, they're hooking up their friends in private matches, and they're going to be playing ranked games just to try, when they've got no friends online, just to try and sort of polish out their characters. They are not going to be in player matches, but they would have been in player matches. You would have seen some of them in player matches previous to MK11, because player matches, the characters, the variations, they were all in it. So you could practice to your heart's content, because ultimately, the player's skill level on the other end doesn't matter too much as long as you're playing high skill players at some point. Because you can polish your strategies against lower skill players, you can practice against smashing against lower skill players, so you can still practice your combo execution against lesser skilled players. You get to learn different play styles, because guess what, in tournament, you're not just going to fight against top players, you're going to fight against the scrubs. You need to learn to play against them too. It's difficult. There's two different mindsets. They're not going to respect your plus frames. They're not, a good player might respect or not respect. There's a mind game. Bad players just not going to respect. You need to learn how to enforce the respect. You need to learn how to deal with someone who constantly commits to certain options. The scariest thing to fight against is when players don't commit to options, because then you can't read them. But when somebody's constantly just going, he's always going to throw every single time he down ones me on hit. He's just always going to throw. Free combo punish. That's how you play against a less skilled player. Against a higher skilled player, every single time they down one, you don't know if they're midding, you don't know if they're staggering, you don't know if they're throwing, and then that's when it gets higher level. But you still need to learn that the fact that these lower skilled players, they'll just do it, and you can lose to that. You can lose to that because you're like, surely they're not going to DP here. Oh yeah, he's DP'd there. So there's definitely things there. However, when it comes to Mortal Kombat 11, if you're a tournament player, ranked or private games are the only things you're going to be in. Casuals, separate. The casual community now, the people that want to play custom variations, they're their own community. Whereas it blended the two before, and I think that's a shame as well. It makes it difficult for the casuals to go into competitive, and obviously it's making it almost impossible for the competitive to mingle with the casuals. And I only say casuals here, not because the casual players are actual casual players, it's just the name of the game mode. Okay, casual game mode. They're casual matches. They're not. There's no stakes. They're just go in and play, practice, train. Doesn't mean the players are absolutely terrible. I'm sure there's some great players in there, but none of them are really looking to. You won't see them on the Pro Tour because they're not looking to compete. So yeah, that's my stance on it. I feel, not having custom variations overall, it seems like it's a waste of the framework that they've built. They just didn't need to do it. Ultimately, they need to. I know they needed a selling point to a lot of the players, but if they'd have just gone with a variation system again, I think they'd have sold the same. I don't think they're going to sell more copies. No one I've said, I'm going to pick up a copy because of customs. Maybe, obviously there's always some, but I don't think it's going to be a huge bulk of sales. So it seems like they've set themselves out a huge task and then not delivered it onto the one part of their player base that would get the most out of it. So the one part of the player base that would ooze and let you drawing blood out of a stone every single inch of their development time, not gonna see it. It's on the dust for those players. Not gonna get seen. Not gonna see the light of day. The casual player base, they don't care. There's a new update for another game that's come out. They're going to go on that. They'll play for a month, yeah, and then they'll move on, They're not the players you want to entertain for the long term. So, yeah, custom use is cool. It's like, look at Maximilian, for instance. Maximilian's going to love MK. He's always loved MK. But in a month's time, another game's going to come out, you know, and he's going to look at this cool game, guys. I got my first hands on it. And it's no slight on him. It's his job. It's what he does. But he's a casual player. You know, he's literally in the custom casual players. Yeah, he might play ranked matches when he plays, but ultimately, he's going to move on to the next shiny stone that comes along. But the community, the competitive community, they'll be there for years. And they'll be streaming on Twitch for years. And they're the ones that are going to have the frustration with the system. They're the ones that are going to have bad matchups because they were locked behind a variation wall that meant that their character, their favourite character, the one they want to represent the most, has the answer. Has it. Then the rest decided to take it away. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.